Chapter 410:1. Yili, I am not from the dark race. Xiao Yuju was shocked. She looked at the Apocalypse Legion in shock. Yili's words made her fear the worst. Could these 7 ninth-tier zombies actually belong to Yili? The realization sent shivers down her spine. It was widely known that only dark race members could control zombies. She never expected Yili to be a dark race member, especially since he looked just like a regular human. Yili understood what Xiao Yuju was thinking. He looked at her calmly and said, "One Yili, I'm not from the dark race." His words stunned Xiao Yuju even further. How did he know what she was thinking? This was incredibly unnerving. Roar! Roar! Suddenly, dozens of zombies charged towards them, howling as they approached. "Go Ada," Yili said calmly. With that, Yili opened the synthesis grid in his mind. With his command, Ada shot out instantly. Before Xiao Yuju could even react, all the zombies lay dead on the ground. But before her shock could subside, she noticed that their numbers were decreasing, until only one remained. Xiao Yuju was paralyzed as she witnessed the impossible. How is this possible? The zombies were not only dwindling in number, but their levels were also increasing. Xiao Yuju looked at Yili in shock. Suddenly, she thought of something and felt as if she had been electrocuted. It was Yili who made the zombies dwindle in number, but improve in strength. At this moment, she finally comprehended Yili's true terrifying nature. Thankfully, the Xiao family had not offended him, or they might have been obliterated by his 7 ninth-tier zombies in an instant. Yili, with his serene expression, appeared completely uninterested. The zombies no longer held his attention. His method for synthesizing zombies had remained the same since long ago. He would have the Apocalypse Legion lure zombies to his location. After the members of the Apocalypse Legion went to different places to attract zombies, Yili prepared to take out some food from the system space. However, he realized that a significant portion of the food was gone, and the culprit was none other than Xiao He. Xiao He was enjoying a hearty meal in the system space, and he had never experienced such a feast from birth until now. Yili shook his head in resignation. He couldn't blame Xiao. After all, the little guy was a divine beast. Without much thought, Yili retrieved a box of food from the system space. "Come and eat with me," Yili said to Xiao Yuju. Xiao Yuju, who was trembling uncontrollably, had lost her appetite entirely. She was overcome with fear. Yili chuckled to himself. She was scared now. He nodded slightly, looked at the sun in the sky, and murmured to himself, "True fear has yet to begin." Moments later, Xiao Yuju suddenly shivered. She heard the sounds of countless zombies. She hadn't paid them any attention before, but when she finally took a look, she was horrified. Zombies surrounded them from all directions, like a dark cloud overhead. Xiao Yuju was on the verge of tears. "Mr. Yi, what should we do?" She was the cherished gem of the Xiao family, and she didn't want to die. Yili gave a faint smile. "No need to panic." When the Apocalypse Legion and the zombies were a certain distance away, Yili issued a command. "Ada, Bai Wawa, Hongye, Yutong, Swordsman All Chi Bone Maiden," and Long Yu began to take action. Chapter 411. Extracting 3 blue corpse crystals, Yili opened the synthesis grid in his mind and started synthesizing zombies. The only regret was that there were no mutant zombies. Yili's virtual finger speed in his mind had reached an incredible level. A level 3 zombie synthesized. A level 4 zombie synthesized. In the end, Yili merged all 18 clawed zombies into second-tier zombies. Yili thought they were alright, as second-tier zombies still possessed some combat power. But he naturally felt they were still too weak. What about the mutant zombies? To evolve, mutant zombies needed corpse crystals from the brains of other zombies. So did Xiao He. Yili was about to use his heavenly spirit eyes to search for some, when he noticed Xiao Yuju had turned to stone. Her eyes were wide open, and her fair face was filled with fear, as if she had just witnessed the most horrifying scene in history. Yili chuckled to himself. Any person who witnessed him synthesizing zombies would react this way. He had seen this reaction countless times. "Are you scared?" Yili looked at Xiao Yuju calmly. Startled, Xiao Yuju snapped out of her daze. Not only was she scared, But she was also extremely scared. She didn't know how to respond to Yi Li. Before she could answer, Yi Li continued, "Never be afraid because everything one do will make you scared for 3 days and 3 nights." His words left Xiao Yuzhu stunned. She swallowed hard and stared at Yi Li's face. She realized that Yi Li's expression was incredibly calm, something she had never seen before in anyone. Yi Li didn't pay any more attention to Xiao Yuzhu. He activated his heavenly spirit eyes to search for mutant zombies. He was indeed lucky. He quickly spotted a few mutant zombies, though they were only first-tier mutants. Without much thought, Yi Li walked towards them. The Apocalypse Legion followed closely behind. Xiao Yuzhu had no choice but to follow, even though she was apprehensive. It didn't take long for Yi Li to come across 3 first-tier zombies. When regular level 10 advanced zombies reached the first tier, they displayed some level of intelligence, although it was limited. The 3 first-tier zombies, upon noticing humans, lunged towards them like starving ghosts. Yi Li raised his fingers, and 3 golden spiritual energy attacks burst forth. The 3 first-tier zombies instantly lost their combat abilities. Yi Li pondered how he could extract the corpse crystals from their brains. He opened the system's point shop to see if there were any relevant tools. He wasn't particularly hopeful, but to his surprise he found what he needed. Corpse crystal extraction skill. Can extract corpse crystals from the brains of mutant zombies. Price 10,000 points. Yi Li purchased the corpse crystal extraction skill. Do you want to cultivate the corpse crystal extraction skill? Yes. 10%, 30%, 60%, 100%. The corpse crystal extraction skill has been successfully cultivated. With the system's voice fading away, Yi Li's mind contained all the information about the corpse crystal extraction skill. He looked at the 3 first-tier zombies on the ground, now incapacitated, and used the corpse crystal extraction skill on them. A stream of spiritual energy burst from Yi Li's hand, striking the heads of the 3 first-tier zombies. A few seconds later, 3 blue corpse crystals were extracted from their brains. The 3 first-tier zombies had lost their vitality the moment the corpse crystals were removed. Yi Li thought that these crystals were like the human heart. Once they were gone, the zombies would die. Chapter 412. Adorable Yutong. Yi Li released Xiao He from the system space. Woof! Woof! Xiao He wagged its tail excitedly, seemingly curious about everything. Yi Li tossed 3 corpse crystals to Xiao He, and its eyes lit up. To Xiao He, this was the finest delicacy. It swallowed one of the blue corpse crystals in a single gulp, finding it incredibly delicious. It quickly devoured the other 2 as well. In an instant, Xiao He went from level 5 to level 7. Its size had grown slightly, but there weren't any noticeable changes. Brother, this dog is so annoying. Just now it kept stealing your food in the system space, Yutong complained, looking disdainfully at Xiao He. Hee hee, that's right. Bai Wawa chimed in with a silly grin. Woof! Woof! Xiao He seemed to understand, and barked menacingly at Yutong and Bai Wawa. Yi Li chuckled. Since when did Yutong and Bai Wawa become allies? This was quite interesting. We'll talk about this later. Continue to find mutant zombies. After you defeat them, bring them to me. Yi Li gave the Apocalypse Legion another command. The Apocalypse Legion began searching for mutant zombies, and Xiao He excitedly bounced around on the ground. Surprisingly, it followed Yutong. Get lost or I'll hit you. Yutong glared at Xiao He, fuming. Woof! Woof! Xiao He barked back as if to say, I want leave. What are you going to do about it? Yi Li gave a faint smile. These 2 were quite the pair. Yutong, Xiao He, be careful, and Yutong, protect Xiao He. Go on now, Yi Li said slowly. Yutong pouted but followed her master's command. Xiao Yuzhu was originally very scared, but seeing Yutong so cute, she felt that her heart was about to melt. This was a 9th-tier zombie. For some inexplicable reason, she wasn't scared anymore. Mr. Yi, are you really not a member of the dark race? Xiao Yuzhu asked cautiously. Yi Li smiled. Do you think I need to lie to you? Xiao Yuzhu didn't dare to ask any further questions. She was afraid of displeasing Yi Li, but she didn't think the dark race members looked like humans. So Mr. Yi should be a human. Although she didn't know how Yili could control Tier 7 zombies, this world was so big. There were all kinds of strange things in this world. But there was no doubt that Yili was incredibly powerful, terrifying, and formidable. In the Sky Blue Base City, there are two treasures: the Eastern Emperor Bell Fragment and the Divine Beast, the Sky-Swallowing Dog. We have to take at least one of them back this time. Otherwise, if we anger Master, you know the consequences. Last time, you mentioned that you found a fragment of the Eastern Emperor Bell and had a fierce battle with a 9th-tier evolved being. At a critical moment, a human powerhouse appeared. Is there really such a figure that exists in the Sky Blue Base City? I assume they are also here to find the Eastern Emperor Bell Fragment and the Sky-Swallowing Dog. Yili had exceptional hearing, and he naturally heard the conversation. He wore a smile because one of those figures was the Thunder Beast he had encountered when he found the other half of the Eastern Emperor Bell. He didn't expect there to be two 9th-tier Dark Race members. Let's go, Yili said indifferently. Go where? Xiao Yuzhu looked at Yili in confusion. We've encountered two members of the Dark Race. Let's go have some fun. With those words, Yili began to take his steps. By the time Xiao Yuzhu snapped out of her daze, Yili was already 10 steps ahead. She quickly followed. Chapter 413. Thunder Beast and Steel Bone Yi. Li used the heavenly spirit eyes to see the two Dark Race members. One of them was the Thunder Beast, which was no surprise, as Yili had encountered it before. The other Dark Race member was extremely ugly, hunched with a skeletal figure, and a sharp blade protruding from its back. This Dark Race member was called Steelbone, and was also a 9th-tier Dark Race member. They were currently on the rooftop of a high-rise building, looking down at everything below. While Xiao Yuzhu was walking, she realized she hadn't seen the Dark Race members. Give me your hand, Yili said casually to Xiao Yuzhu. What? Xiao Yuzhu was taken aback. She hadn't expected Yili to say that. However, she extended her hand to Yili, not daring to refuse him. Yili grabbed her hand, and Xiao Yuzhu felt a comforting warmth. She glanced at Yili's peerlessly handsome face, and secretly wished that she could be Yili's girlfriend. But she knew it was just a dream. Then, Yili leaped, and before Xiao Yuzhu could react, she found herself on a rooftop. She had no time to contemplate the situation, because she saw two Dark Race members with incredibly powerful auras. Xiao Yuzhu was taken aback by the evil aura emanating from Thunder Beast and Steel Bone. It felt suffocating. Thunder Beast and Steel Bone were equally surprised and hadn't expected two humans to suddenly appear. It's you. After recognizing Yili's face, Thunder Beast was shocked. Thunder Beast, do you know this human youth? Steel Bone asked. It's him. He defeated me, and took the fragment of the Eastern Emperor Bell. He also has the dragon-slaying saber. Steel Bone was startled. The dragon-slaying saber, one of the 10 great divine weapons? Xiao Yuzhu, who was from the Xie family, had witnessed the power of the Eastern Emperor Bell when Yili had used it. It had caused a massive earthquake. She couldn't help but think that Yili had one of the 10 great divine weapons in his hand. Ha ha ha. Steelbone suddenly laughed. Thunder Beast, even though you were defeated by him, you were alone at that time. Now there are two of us. Steelbone put on an extremely grim smile. This was an awakening for Thunder Beast, who realized that with their combined strength, they had the upper hand. Yili shook his head. He had fought two 9th-tier Dark Race members single-handedly when he was in the wilderness zone, let alone now. However, what made him hesitate was that Xiao Yuzhu was beside him. If he didn't bring her up here with him, she might encounter danger below. Yili felt that Xiao Yuzhu would be much safer by his side. Human, start by telling us your name, and I might just respect you, Thunder Beast said, his gaze fixed on Yili. Yili, Yili replied calmly. Steelbone, on the other hand, was growing impatient. Thunder Beast, stop talking to this human. Let's kill them, and take the dragon-slaying saber, and the Eastern Emperor Bell fragment. Xiao Yuzhu was in shock, as the two Dark Race members exuded terrifying auras. There was no doubt that these Dark Race members were exceptionally formidable. Now that the Apocalypse Legion was not around Mr. Yi, she didn't know if Yili would be in danger. She didn't dare to continue thinking. Human, I suggest you hand over the dragon-slaying saber and the Eastern Emperor Bell fragment, or you will have no place to be buried, Steelbone said coldly. Chapter 414. Why did you choose suicide? Yi Li's expression remained unchanged, and he looked calmly at Steelbone. Guess I'll listen to you or not. While Thunder Beast and Steelbone were both 9th-tier Dark Race members, compared to Yi Li, they were worlds apart. Steelbone grew angry. In that case, we'll have to take your life. With those words, a cold light shot out from behind Steelbone, coming straight at Yi Li. Xiao Yuzhu was horrified as the attack's evil aura overwhelmed her, making it hard to breathe. The attack was as fast as lightning, and many genetic warriors wouldn't have been able to evade it. In Yi Li's eyes, the speed was far from impressive and was in fact quite slow. With a swift move, Yi Li evaded the attack. He then summoned the dragon-slaying saber from the system space. Instantly, the rooftop was filled with chilling radiance, and the roar of a 5-clawed blood dragon illusion appeared overhead, sending chills down everyone's spine. Flame blade technique. Yi Li swung the saber horizontally, and the dragon-slaying saber emitted numerous fire blades. Thunder Beast and the Steelbone were shocked and hurriedly dodged. The flame blade technique was not strong, so Thunder Beast and the Steelbone dodged it without much effort. Thunder Beast wielded dual hammers and struck the ground heavily in front of him. Boom! Instantly, a terrifying bolt of lightning came crashing towards Yi Li. Yi Li just smiled. While the attack seemed fierce, it wasn't particularly frightening to him. Quite the opposite. It seemed quite friendly. Swish! With a casual swing of his sword, Yi Li cut through the incoming thunderbolt. Thunder Beast and Steelbone were left in disbelief, especially Steelbone, who had never witnessed Yi Li's fearsomeness. Seeing Yi Li demonstrate such strength now, he couldn't help but be shocked. Is this the power of the dragon-slaying saber? Steelbone asked coldly as he stared at Yi Li's blade. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yuzhu turned her gaze to Yi Li, who appeared as calm as water, as though nothing had happened. For some reason, Xiao Yuzhu's nervous heart began to stabilize. Why did you choose suicide? Yi Li asked nonchalantly. This left Thunder Beast and Steelbone puzzled. It was evident they didn't understand what Yi Li meant. Yi Li, what do you mean? Thunder Beast asked. Yi Li smiled. Everything you're doing now is akin to suicide, isn't it? How could Thunder Beast and the Steelbone not understand? They were infuriated by Yi Li's words. Despite Yi Li's terrifying strength, they were 2 9th-tier Dark Race members. Yi Li, today, you'll have no way to escape today. With that declaration, Thunder Beast hammered the ground heavily, and another terrifying thunderbolt came crashing towards Yi Li. Yi Li shook his head, still wondering why people never believed him. But what happened next was clear. Yi Li avoided the thunderbolt and leaped into the air, holding the dragon-slaying saber high and enunciating each word clearly. Primordial Demon Slash. Instantly, 3,000 demonic shadows rushed at Thunder Beast and Steelbone at a mind-boggling speed. Seeing such an attack, the Thunder Beast and the Steelbone were instantly scared out of their wits. They would never have dreamed that Yi Li could launch such a terrifying slash. Frantically, they employed their most potent skills to defend against it. Boom! In an instant, the entire building collapsed. Chapter 415. Is there a place with more zombies? Yi Li grabbed Xiao Yuzhu's hand and leaped down to the ground. Thunder Beast and Steelbone were in a sorry state. They were terrified and couldn't believe how powerful Yi Li's previous attack had been. Had they not used their most potent skills, they might have met their end. Yi Li, we've already withstood your most powerful attacks. There's nothing left to hesitate about. Hand over the dragon-slaying saber and the East Emperor Bell. Steelbone said coldly, glaring at Yi Li. Yi Li smiled faintly, as he found Steelbone quite amusing. Do you really think that's my most powerful skill? Yi Li asked slowly. Thunder Beast and Steelbone were alarmed as they suddenly realized what Yi Li meant. They were about to say something, but Yi Li had already raised the dragon-slaying saber again. Sky Demon Tyrant Blade Technique. As the words fell, the blade fell. A formidable demonic shadow, bearing a gigantic axe, advanced at an alarming pace, looking extremely terrifying. Seeing this, Thunder Beast and the Steel Bone were dumbstruck. THTH this. At this moment, a word appeared in the minds of Thunder Beast and Steel Bone. Escape! So they did. Thunder Beast and Steel Bone fled at their maximum speed, as they now saw Yili as nothing but a madman, a total lunatic. Yili didn't pursue them. There was no need to. He retracted the dragon-slaying saber and with a calm expression, gazed at Xiao Yuzhu, who had turned into stone-like form. Let's go, Yili said calmly. Xiao Yuzhu snapped out of her trance, gazing at Yili's carefree figure, feeling the charm in it. For a moment, Xiao Yuzhu's heart was pounding like a scared deer. The two returned to their previous location. The Apocalypse Legion had not come back yet. Yili found a place to sit, and patiently waited for the Apocalypse Legion's return. Before long they arrived. Ada led with 2 mutant zombies, while the others each brought 1. Unexpectedly, even Xiao He carried a mutant zombie's corpse in his mouth. The tiny dog, about the size of a palm, appeared quite comical. 16 first-tier mutant zombies. Yili extracted 16 blue corpse crystals from the heads of the 16 zombies. Woof! Woof! Xiao He was excited to see the blue corpse crystals, and couldn't wait to consume them. Without any hesitation, Yili gave all 16 blue corpse crystals to Xiao He. Xiao He began to eat fiercely, 1 bite at a time, as if he were eating the most delicious food in the world. Yili observed Xiao He's body, and noticed it had grown larger, after consuming the 16 blue corpse crystals. Yili checked Xiao He's stats. Xiao He, sky-swallowing dog. Attributes strength. Bloodline divine beast. Level 10. Yili thought that if it was evolution, Xiao He should be able to evolve when it reached Tier 1. Above level 10 was Tier 1. He had to continue looking for the mutant zombie. Besides here, is there any place with more mutated zombies? Yili looked at Xiao Yuzhu and said. Xiao Yuzhu paused, contemplating for a few seconds, then nodded at Yili saying, yes. In Corpse City. Corpse City? Just hearing the name, Yili knew that it must be teeming with zombies. Mr. Yi, Corpse City is the area in Sky Blue Base City with the most zombies. There are no dark race members there, and the leader there is a 6th-tier zombie. Yili found it intriguing. He had only encountered Bone Maiden, a 6th-tier zombie, in the wilderness zone. Chapter 416. Heading to Corpse City. Yili looked at Xiao Yuzhu. Let's go to Corpse City. But Mr. Yi, the Sky Blue Academy students are currently having a trial on the outskirts of Corpse City, Xiao Yuzhu said, looking somewhat troubled. Xiao Yuzhu had recently graduated from Sky Blue Academy, and had the opportunity to go to Cloud Peak Academy. But she thought it was too far away and decided not to go. What does Sky Blue Academy having a trial on the outskirts of Corpse City have to do with us going to Corpse City? Yili asked calmly. Xiao Yuzhu was momentarily stunned, and didn't dare to continue. Mr. Yi, should we head to Corpse City now? Xiao Yuzhu asked, looking at Yili. Yes. Yili nodded. After placing the Apocalypse Legion and Xiao He into the system space, Yili and Xiao Yuzhu set off toward Corpse City. Corpse City was quite a distance away. If they had to walk there, it would take a considerable amount of time. Yili quickly grasped the direction to Corpse City, then grabbed Xiao Yuzhu's hand. Activating the swift steps, he was literally flying in the air. Yili's swift steps were now an SSS-ranked skill, making him incredibly fast. In no time at all, Yili and Xiao Yuzhu arrived at the outskirts of Corpse City. Xiao Yuzhu was astounded by the breathtaking speed. She had always known that Yili was fast, but this was on a whole new level. Yili ignored Xiao Yuzhu's shocked expression. Anyone encountering such a phenomenon would undoubtedly be amazed. Surveying Corpse City, it appeared similar to the ruined city in the wilderness zone. Currently, Yili and Xiao Yuzhu were in a forest outside the city. As they were about to head into Corpse City, they heard several voices. Haha, ironclad boar, I've killed 3 of them. I've also killed 5 red snakes. It looks like there are 2 people ahead. 5 or 6 Sky Blue Academy students seemed perplexed. Yili and Xiao Yuzhu weren't wearing the academy uniform, which meant they were not students of Sky Blue Academy. Let's go take a look. The students headed toward Yuli and Xiao Yuzhu. When they got closer, the students spotted Xiao Yuzhu and were a little stunned. Senior sister Xiao, what are you doing here? During her time at the academy, Xiao Yuzhu had been the center of attention. It could be said that everyone in the academy knew her. I guess senior sister Xiao must be here to see senior Lin Cheng, a student said. Lin Cheng was a member of the Lin family, one of the top 3 families. He was known as his family's #1 genius, and had already graduated from Sky Blue Academy. However, he had chosen to stay behind to challenge the Academy's Martial Tower. Since the establishment of the Martial Tower at Sky Blue Academy, no one had reached the top floor. All students at the Academy knew that Lin Cheng had feelings for Xiao Yuzhu. They were regarded as a match made in heaven, both hailing from prestigious families, which made countless students envious. During this trip organized by Sky Blue Academy, Lin Cheng of course had to join. Hearing all this, Yili understood why Xiao Yuzhu had been reluctant to come to Corpse City, but he didn't care about these matters. Right now, he was focused on upgrading Xiao He to the first-tier realm and seeing if it would evolve. Xiao Yuzhu was about to speak, but one of the students said, Sister Xiao, 111 go tell Senior Lin Cheng right away that you're here. Then the student walked away. Chapter 417. The Furious Lin Cheng. Mr. Yili, what do you think? Xiao Yuzhu looked at Yili, wanting to know his opinion. Let's go to Corpse City, Yili said calmly. He didn't want to get involved in these minor matters. Xiao Yuzhu nodded and, together with Yili, continued towards Corpse City. They were now on the outskirts of Corpse City, and it was not far from the city. To Yili's surprise, they hadn't walked more than a few steps when the student who had left earlier returned with a man in his 20s. The man was handsome, but compared to Yili, he naturally fell short. Yuzhu, one never expected to see you here, the man said with a faint smile, addressing Xiao Yuzhu. The man was none other than Lin Cheng, the #1 genius of both the top 3 families and the Sky Blue Academy. What does it have to do with you that I'm here? Xiao Yuzhu frowned, showing her disinterest in Lin Cheng. Yuzhu, you know that you and I have a marriage arrangement, and I will be your husband in the future, Lin Cheng said. Yili didn't like hearing such words, and he was about to ask Xiao Yuzhu to leave when Lin Cheng said, Who is this? Lin Cheng stared at Yili and couldn't help but wrinkle his brow. He had always thought that he was the most handsome man in the Sky Blue Base City, but now he felt an overwhelming sense of inferiority when he compared himself to Yili. He even had the sensation that he wanted to find a hole to hide in. Yili wasn't interested in responding to Lin Cheng. Instead, he spoke to Xiao Yuzhu. Let's go to Corpse City. Okay, Mr. Yi, Xiao Yuzhu replied. Lin Cheng was angry when he heard this. As the #1 genius of the top 3 families in the Sky Blue Base City, he was actually ignored? Wait! Lin Cheng shouted coldly at Yili. Yili paused, looking at Lin Cheng. He asked, What's the matter? Who are you? Lin Cheng asked in a cold tone. Lin Cheng was undoubtedly the center of attention, as a prominent figure at Sky Blue Academy, on this trip to Corpse City's outskirts. Soon enough, more students from Sky Blue Academy gathered. Heh! Yili suddenly smiled lightly. Lin Cheng was puzzled by the smile. He couldn't understand why Yili was smiling. Why are you laughing? Lin Cheng asked coldly. You want to know my name? Are you worthy? Yili's eyes showed a hint of mockery. Lin Cheng, while undoubtedly talented, was only a Tier 4 evolved being. Before Yili, he was nothing more than an ant. Dozens of Sky Blue Academy students were left dumbfounded by Yili's words. In their eyes, Lin Cheng was like a prince from a fairy tale. They couldn't believe that Yili would dare to speak to Lin Cheng this way. Who is this guy? He's so arrogant. Yeah, doesn't he know how powerful Senior Lin Cheng is? I think he must be crazy. Just wait. Senior Lin Cheng will definitely make him regret it. The students from Sky Blue Academy all mocked Yili. Lin Cheng, one advise you to leave now, or else you'll regret provoking Mr. Yi, Xiao Yuzhu told Lin Cheng, looking at him. She wanted to give him a friendly warning. If he didn't listen, there was nothing more she could do. Lin Cheng was further infuriated by her words and glared at Yili. Do you know who 1 a.m.? Chapter 418. Let me Yili, apologize, are you even worthy? As the young master of the Lin family, one of the top 3 families in Sky Blue Base City, there was no one who dared to speak to Lin Chen this way. Big brother, what's going on? A voice reached the students' ears. Sky Blue Base City's students followed the voice and saw a young man walking towards them. It's Lin Chen. Lin Cheng and Lin Chen were brothers. Lin Chen was Lin Cheng's younger brother, a super genius at Sky Blue Academy, and one of the prominent figures too. Lin Chen suddenly looked at Yi Li, and he took 3 steps backward. He had met Yi Li before, as Xiao Yuzhu had asked him to teach Yi Li a lesson. However, he had been thoroughly shocked when Yi Li turned the tables on him. Yi Li naturally didn't even bother to look at Lin Chen. Lin Chen didn't answer, his gaze fixed on Yi Li. Do you not know that 1 a.m. the heir of the Lin family, one of the top 3 families? Lin Chen stared at Yi Li intently. Yi Li smiled faintly. What does your identity as a member of the Lin family have to do with me? The moment this statement came out, the students from Sky Blue Academy were left dumbfounded. They had seen arrogance before, but never such an extreme level of it. Hearing this, Lin Chen was extremely angry. I want you to apologize to me now. Xiao Yuzhu looked at Lin Cheng's furious expression and couldn't help but sigh. When you bring trouble upon yourself, you shouldn't expect others to bail you out. The students from Sky Blue Academy were also filled with indignation as they watched Yi Li. Lin Cheng had been their absolute idol, and now someone was trampling on their idol. How could they not be angry? Apologize? Yi Li chuckled. He found Lin Cheng's behavior quite amusing. Do you think you're worthy of an apology from me? Not to mention a mere tier 4 evolved being like Lin Cheng. In this parallel world, who could make Yi Li apologize? Who was worthy of Yi Li apologizing? Lin Cheng's face turned scarlet with rage. You're asking for death. Finally, Lin Cheng could no longer suppress his anger and launched a punch at Yi Li. Yi Li smiled faintly. He really admired Lin Cheng for his audacity. He couldn't understand why Lin Chen dared to strike him. He found it absurd. Yi Li stood in place like a statue, as if he regarded Lin Cheng as nothing more than air, allowing Lin Cheng's aura-infused fist to come down. The students from Sky Blue Academy believed that Yi Li would surely be knocked to the ground by Lin Cheng's punch. They thought Yi Li had been frightened to the point where he didn't know how to dodge. But only Xiao Yuzhu knew that Lin Cheng's punch wouldn't cause the slightest harm to Yi Li, even if it struck. Just as Lin Cheng's aura-infused fist was about to touch Yi Li, Lin Chen sneered. He had initially thought that Yi Li was somewhat powerful to be able to make such arrogant statements. Now, however, he realized that he was not only wrong, but also utterly wrong. There was no doubt that this punch struck Yi Li's body heavily. Yet, what none of the students from Sky Blue Academy could have foreseen was that, when Lin Cheng's fist landed on Yi Li's body, Lin Cheng was sent flying backward. How was that possible? The students from Sky Blue Academy couldn't help but gasp, and were left in shock. They had clearly seen Lin Cheng's punch hit Yi Li's body, so why was it Lin Cheng who was sent flying backward? They hadn't seen Yi Li make a move at all. Lin Cheng landed heavily on the ground. He felt that the moment his fist touched Yi Li's body, his internal organs were displaced, and his hand had already fractured. Chapter 419. Step aside, or you'll be lying on the ground. Lin Chen couldn't possibly have imagined such a scene. There was only one possible explanation for it. Yi Li was a master of body refinement. Lin Cheng was a 4th-tier evolutionary, and though he was in intense pain, he gritted his teeth and managed to get up from the ground. He stared intently at Yi Li. I didn't expect you to be this strong, Lin Cheng said. The students from Sky Blue Base City also couldn't believe what they were seeing. They had thought that Yi Li would be defeated by Lin Cheng, but instead, they witnessed this extraordinary turn of events. But you've offended me, which means you've offended the Lin family. Don't you know how terrifying the Lin family is? In Lin Cheng's eyes, if Yi Li knew the true power of the Lin family, he wouldn't have dared to do those things to him. Ants are just ants, Yi Li replied, shaking his head gently. Lin Cheng was already infuriated beyond measure. He knew that Yi Li was stronger than him. But to think that Yi Li would treat the Lin family as if it were nothing. Before he could speak, Yi Li continued. Ants never understand how high the heavens are and how broad the earth is. What's going on? Suddenly, a deep voice echoed through the scene. The students from Sky Blue Academy quickly made way as a middle-aged man, who was almost 50 years old, approached. This middle-aged man was named Wang Jin, a 6th-tier evolutionary. He was a teacher at Sky Blue Academy, and the leader of this group of students on their expedition to the outskirts of Corpse City. Wang teacher, what's going on? Then one of the female students, who regarded Lin Cheng as an idol, recounted the entire incident to Wang Jin. Wang Jin was taken aback when he heard the story. He then looked at Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu. Yuzhu. Wang Jin's words weren't finished, as Xiao Yuzhu interrupted, saying, Mr. Wang. Lin Cheng offended Mr. Yi. He asked for it, Xiao Yuzhu said. She had already given Lin Cheng a kind warning, but Lin Cheng didn't listen. What could she do? Mr. Yi? Wang Jin was somewhat surprised. Xiao Yuzhu, as the third young miss of the Xiao family, was calling the young man before her Mr. Did this young man have a remarkable background? However, it was just a guess on his part, and he didn't dare to offend the Lin family. After all, Lin Xinghai, the head of the Lin family, was the honorary president of Sky Blue Academy. This is the trial ground for Sky Blue Academy, and there's a blockade outside. Why did you intrude here? Wang Jin fixed his gaze on Yi Li. If you don't want to be lying on the ground, step aside, Yi Li said calmly. He found Wang Jin's question rather ludicrous. In such a vast world, Yi Li could go wherever he pleased, including this place. Wang Jin was taken aback by Yi Li's response. He hadn't expected a young man who appeared to be in his early 20s to speak to him, a 6th-tier evolved being, in such a manner. For a moment, Wang Jin became angry. All the students of the Sky Blue Academy gnashed their teeth and glared at Yi Li. Did this person not take their Sky Blue Academy seriously at all? Do you dare to say it again? Wang Jin stared at Yi Li and said firmly. Yi Li shook his head slightly and looked at Wang Jin indifferently. I didn't expect you to be deaf in addition to being pitifully weak. As soon as he said this, Wang Jin's eyes widened. Arrogant, too arrogant. I'll say it again. Get out of the way. Don't make me say it a third time, Yi Li said. If one don't step aside, Wang Jin coldly retorted. The students from Sky Blue Academy were seething with anger, all of them hoping that Wang Jin would take action to uphold the honor of Sky Blue Academy. Chapter 420. Arriving at Corpse City, Yi Li smiled faintly. He couldn't understand why Wang Jin dared to speak to him in such a manner. It was quite ridiculous. Well then, I'll have to let you lie on the ground, Yi Li slowly responded. With that, an astonishing golden spirit light erupted from Yi Li's fingertips, attacking Wang Jin directly. Seeing this attack, Wang Jin's expression paled as he realized he couldn't evade it. The astonishing golden spirit light struck Wang Jin's leg directly, and in an instant he fell to the ground. Ollie! Wang Jin let out a blood-curdling scream that sent shivers down everyone's spines. Lin Chun and the students from Sky Blue Academy were left in disbelief. They never expected that Wang Jin, a 6th-tier evolved being, would be defeated by a single blow. Moreover, the blow was delivered by a terrifying golden spirit light that pierced through his thigh. Golden spirit light. The students from Sky Blue Academy suddenly realized something. Golden spirit energy corresponded to SS's level gene warriors, didn't it? Thinking about this, both Lin Cheng and the students were stunned, as they all turned to look at Yi Li. However, even legendary SSS level gene warriors couldn't possibly defeat a 6th-tier evolved being in the blink of an eye at such a young age. At this moment, the students from Sky Blue Academy were utterly shocked. Yi Li, how dare you openly oppose Sky Blue Academy? Lin Cheng's voice was trembling. Yi Li responded with a smile. I don't even care about your Lin family, let alone a mere Sky Blue Academy. He then looked at the students from Sky Blue Academy and added, Do you want to lie on the ground too? With this statement, all the students from Sky Blue Academy shivered. Hearing Wang Jin's continued screams, they immediately made way for Yi Li. If a 6th-tier evolved being like Wang Jin could be defeated with a single attack, there was no way they would dare to challenge Yi Li. Yi Li gave Xiao Yuzhu a glance, and she immediately understood his meaning. Then, Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu headed towards Corpse City. When Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu arrived at Corpse City, he found that Corpse City was indeed Corpse City. There were really many zombies. Yi Li scanned with the heavenly spirit eyes and found many zombies. He released the Apocalypse Legion from the system space. Go and attract the zombies. Yi Li intended to upgrade the 18-clawed zombies to a higher level. This time, Xiao He followed by Wawa with great enthusiasm. And it seemed like they had established a good relationship in the system space. Xiao Yuzhu had already seen this scene. Although she was a little shocked, she wasn't as shocked as just now. After the Apocalypse Legion attracted many zombies, Yi Li began synthesizing them. From noon to evening, Yi Li successfully upgraded all 18-clawed zombies to the 4th tier. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a super treasure chest. At this moment, the system's voice resounded in Yi Li's mind. Without hesitation, Yi Li opened the super treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a zombie-exclusive skill, Corpse Ghost Array. Corpse Ghost Array. Several or even a dozen zombies can form a Corpse Ghost Array. Once formed, the Corpse Ghost Array's power is increased by more than 10-fold, and it exudes a terrifying murderous aura, capable of killing enemies within 100 miles. Yi Li smiled, as this skill seemed to be specifically designed for his 18-clawed zombies. Without delay, Yi Li integrated the Corpse Ghost Array into the 18-clawed zombies. By now, it was getting late, and Yi Li felt a touch of exhaustion. He thought it would be best to find a place to rest and tackle things tomorrow. He picked a seemingly clean room and entered it with Xiao Yuzhu, and the two of them lay down to rest. Chapter 421. Amusement Park. The sunlight streamed through the window and shone on Yi Li's face as he slowly opened his eyes. Today he had two goals: to upgrade the 18-clawed zombies to a higher level, and to help Xiao He become a first-tier divine beast. Xiao Yuzhu had also awakened, and there was a slight blush on her fair face. She had never been alone in a room with a boy before. Yi Li got up and walked out of the room. There were sporadic zombies on the streets. He released the Apocalypse Legion from the system space. Dai by Wawa, Hongya, Yutong 7 Bone Maiden, and Long Yu lined up in a row. Go attract mutated zombies, the more the better, Yi Li told the Apocalypse Legion. The Apocalypse Legion nodded and went in various directions to attract mutated zombies. Yi Li found it somewhat boring and started walking down the street, hoping to bump into something interesting. Xiao Yuzhu followed him. After walking for about 15 minutes, Yi Li did indeed encounter a mutated zombie. Not far in front of him was an amusement park, and within the park were many zombies. Among them, a mutated zombie, standing more than 10 feet tall, was on top of a car. This zombie, Yi Li squinted his eyes. This was a 6th-tier zombie, presumably the leader of the zombies in Corpse City that Xiao Yuzhu had mentioned. Roar! Roar! In the deserted amusement park, zombies from all directions were bowing down to this 6th-tier zombie. So many zombies might be able to help Yi Li upgrade the 18-clawed zombies. Let's go in, Yi Li said to Xiao Yuzhu. Xiao Yuzhu nodded. She knew about Yi Li's incredible abilities and had no reason to worry. Subsequently, Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu entered the amusement park. Unsurprisingly, they were quickly spotted. Human. The 6th-tier zombie smiled coldly. Once a zombie reached the 6th order, it could speak fluently. This 6th-tier zombie looked like the Titan in the game Crossfire Yi Li once played in China. It was 10 feet tall and looked very oppressive. Boom! The 6th-tier zombie jumped out of a junked car and looked at Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu coldly. At this moment, Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu were surrounded by thousands of zombies. Roar! Roar! These zombies were only waiting for the 6th-tier zombies to give the order. Humans, you broke into my territory. Are you looking for death? The 6th-tier zombie sneered. After staying with Yi Li for a few days, Xiao Yuzhu no longer knew what fear was when faced with such a scene. Yi Li's face showed a slight smile as he looked at the 6th-tier zombie and calmly said, "Do you believe your own eyes?" The 6th-tier zombie was momentarily stunned, clearly not understanding Yi Li's meaning. Yili assessed the massive zombie horde and found that dozens of them were first-tier mutated zombies, while others were third to fourth-order mutated zombies. A brilliant smile appeared on Yili's face. "Human, I'm coming to eat you now." The sixth-tier zombie rushed towards Yili and Xiao Yuzhu. Xiao Yuzu's fair face showed no signs of worry because she knew that in Yili's eyes, a sixth-tier zombie was pathetically weak. Yili looked at the sixth-tier zombies charging at him indifferently. This time, he didn't wait where he was but flew towards the sixth-tier zombies. With his current power, he could easily kill the sixth-tier zombie with pure strength. Chapter 422. Super Synthesis. The sixth-tier zombie sneered. He didn't expect this human to dare to take the initiative to rush at him. He was really courting death. The sixth-tier zombie raised his fist. So did Yili. Boom! The fist of the sixth-tier zombie collided heavily with Yili's fist. With this punch, the arm of the sixth-tier zombie was instantly crippled. The sixth-tier zombie let out a shocking roar. He was already in extreme pain. Yili only used less than 1/10 of his strength. Otherwise, this sixth-tier zombie would have already been dead. He still wanted to keep it for synthesis. Eat him! The sixth-tier zombie let out a huge roar. Immediately, countless zombies pounced on Yili and Xiao Yuzhu. However, the sixth-tier zombie had underestimated Yili. Yili raised his finger, and a shocking golden spiritual light entangled on his finger. Swish! 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 In an instant, countless golden spiritual light attacks flew out as fast as lightning. In an instant, countless zombies fell to the ground. Yili took Xiao Yuzu's hand and jumped onto the Ferris wheel. He opened the synthesis grid in his mind and began to synthesize zombies. He ordered the synthesized zombies to attack other zombies because he wanted to synthesize the zombies. Zero then vase. He would have taken out the dragon-slaying blade and slashed out a primordial demon slash, instantly melting all these zombies. There were far fewer synthesized zombies than other zombies. Yili began to use the one young finger on the Ferris wheel, and the zombies below were simply living targets. Countless zombies fell to the ground again. The speed of the virtual fingers in Yili's mind had reached a heaven-defying level. He synthesized a new batch of zombies and continued to attack them. Next, a wicked smile appeared on Yili's handsome face. Next was to kill these mutant zombies. Yili used the heavenly spirit eyes to investigate clearly. There were 30 Tier 1 mutated mutant zombies, 7 Tier 2 zombies, 3 Tier 3 zombies, and 2 Tier 4 zombies. Wait for me here. Yili looked at Xiao Yuzhu and said slowly. As soon as he finished speaking, Yili activated the swift steps, leaving only an afterimage. Yili first planned to kill 30 Tier 1 mutated zombies. He appeared among the 30 Tier 1 mutant zombies, killing a small zombie each punch. The 30 Tier 1 zombies were instantly sent flying. Yili didn't choose to kill them. These Tier 1 zombies could all be synthesized. Seeing this, the 6th Tier zombie was horrified. Kill him! The 6th Tier zombie roared. In an instant, the mutant zombie and many other zombies turned around and charged at Yili. Yili sneered. Kill me? In your dreams? Swish! 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 In Yili's eyes, a Tier 1 zombie, a Tier 2 zombie, a Tier 4 zombie was no different. In any case, they were all weak. In an instant, Yili knocked these mutant zombies to the ground. The 6th Tier zombie was scared out of his wits. He jumped and was about to escape, but it was almost impossible to escape from Yili's palm. As the 6th Tier zombie roared, he fell heavily to the ground, leaving only a deep pit. Yili opened the synthesis grid in his mind and started synthesizing zombies. After he synthesized all the zombies, the 18 clawed zombies were successfully synthesized into 6th Tier zombies. 18 6th Tier zombies. Yili looked a little satisfied. Next, it was time to extract the corpse crystals of these mutant zombies. Then, Yili was a little stunned. He had wanted to keep this 6th Tier zombie for synthesis, but then he wondered what would happen if Xiao He ate the corpse crystal of the 6th Tier zombie. Chapter 423. Xiao He upgrades to 2nd Tier. Yili decided not to synthesize the 6th Tier zombie. After defeating the 6th Tier zombie with a single punch, Yili extracted its corpse crystal. Looking at the corpse crystal in his hand, he knew it was a 6th-tier corpse crystal. Next, he extracted the corpse crystals from the mutated zombies. Xiao Yuzhu was still on the Ferris wheel. Her eyes were wide open, and while she knew Yili was formidable, she couldn't help but be amazed. Yili had single-handedly dealt with so many zombies, leaving Xiao Yuzhu at a loss for words. "Come down," Yili said calmly. Hearing his words, Xiao Yuzhu snapped back to reality. As a 3rd-tier evolved being, getting down from the Ferris wheel was a simple task. After descending from the Ferris wheel, Xiao Yuzhu looked at the dozens of corpse crystals in Yi Li's hands. "Mr. Yi, Xiao He can finally have a feast," she said to Yi Li. Yi Li nodded and replied, "Let's go." With that, he started walking. They had returned to the same location where they were earlier. Not long after they arrived, the Apocalypse Legion returned with the bodies of the mutated zombies. There were the corpses of about a dozen 1st-tier mutated zombies. Yi Li extracted the corpse crystals from these mutated zombies in his mind. Woof! Woof! Xiao He was incredibly excited. He knew this was his food. Yi Li threw all the corpse crystals on the ground. Xiao He began to eat them, wagging his tail as if telling everyone how delicious the food was. Xiao He's size increased slightly, but it wasn't an overwhelming change visually. Yi Li examined Xiao He's attributes. Xiao He, sky-swallowing dog. Attributes: strength. Bloodline: divine beast. Rank: 2nd-tier wind. Skill: super devour. Yi Li was momentarily stunned. He understood that Xiao He was currently in the 2nd tier. However, what did this wind mean? The skill had already been mastered, so there was nothing surprising about that. It was similar to Bone Maiden's super devour skill. "Xiao He, use your skill," Yi Li told Xiao He. Xiao He nodded and opened his mouth, creating a sudden gust of wind that sucked numerous things toward him. Seeing this, Yi Li understood. This wind was Xiao He's current talent. He must have obtained this talent through evolution. Yi Li had originally thought that the evolution was merely a physical transformation. However, it seemed just as well. Having Xiao He turn into an elephant-sized creature wouldn't be very meaningful. Yi Li decided that there was nothing more to do in this corpse city. All his 18-clawed zombies had reached the 6th tier, and Xiao He was now at the 2nd tier. He began walking toward the city's exit. Xiao Yuzhu had no intention of staying in the corpse city any longer. She breathed a sigh of relief, and quickly followed Yi Li. Upon exiting the city, Yi Li spotted a group of people. One of them was Lin Cheng. Lin Cheng was accompanied by several genetic warriors. Yi Li inwardly smiled, thinking that Lin Cheng might be trying to seek revenge, and had been waiting for him here. When Lin Cheng saw Yi Li approaching, his eyes widened, and he clenched his fists tightly, his fingernails digging into his skin without feeling any pain. "Xiao Cheng, is that the young man?" said a man who appeared to be in his 60s. "Yes, 5th grandfather," Lin Cheng replied with a nod. The old man squinted his eyes and said, "Xiao Cheng, isn't that one of the Xia family's girls?" Chapter 424. The Death of Lin Cheng. "Yes, 5th grandfather. The person next to Yi Li is Xiao Yuzhu," Lin Cheng replied. The genetic warriors standing beside Lin Cheng were all members of the Lin family, and the one speaking was Lin Tu, the 5th elder of the Lin family, an 8th-tier evolved being. The other genetic warriors were also influential figures within the Lin family, all in the 7th tier. Yi Li approached with an unwavering face, as if he hadn't seen them at all. "Yi Li, you finally come out of the corpse city." Lin Cheng fixed his gaze on Yi Li. Before Yi Li could speak, Lin Cheng turned his attention to Xiao Yuzhu and said, "Xiao Yuzhu, don't think for a moment that I really like you. If it weren't for your decent looks, would one pursue you?" Xiao Yuzhu was taken aback. She had never liked Lin Cheng, but they had an engagement. When she was still at the Sky Blue Academy, Lin Cheng had treated her well. That's why she had kindly reminded Lin Cheng not to offend Mr. Yi. However, she didn't expect Lin Cheng to say such things. She stood there momentarily stunned. "Xiao Yuzhu, many women like me. If it weren't for the fact that your grandfather is the head of the Xiao family, you wouldn't be anything." Lin Cheng continued, coldly ridiculing her. Xiao Yuzhu regained her composure and stared at Lin Cheng, clenching her teeth. Lin Cheng, however, only smirked and didn't pay any further attention to Xiao Yuzhu. He turned to Yi Li and declared, "Yi Li, you will pay 100 times over for what happened yesterday." "Is that so?" Yi Li looked at Lin Cheng calmly, still showing no emotion on his face. Seeing Yi Li's calm expression, Lin Cheng grew furious. "Yi Li, do you know the strength of my fifth grandfather?" In Lin Cheng's eyes, Yi Li's apparent indifference was due to his ignorance of the strength of Lin Cheng's fifth grandfather. Yi Li smiled and replied, "Isn't he just an 8th-tier evolved being? Nothing more." "What?" This statement left Lin Cheng and the several high-level genetic warriors of the Lin family stunned. "Kid, did you just say that I'm nothing more than an 8th-tier evolved being?" Lin Tu fixed his gaze on Yi Li. "Hee. What are you laughing at?" Yi Li smiled faintly and pondered for a few seconds before speaking again. "I don't want to waste time talking to you. Leaving is your best option." "Yi Li, you're arrogantly spewing nonsense even on your deathbed." Lin Cheng roared in anger and had already lost his temper. Yi Li just smiled faintly. He hadn't wanted to do this, but Lin Cheng had forced his hand. As the saying goes, natural disasters can be survived, but self-inflicted sins are unforgivable. Swish! Suddenly, a horrifying golden spirit light burst forth, and there was already a shocking blood hole on Lin Cheng's forehead. The entire process happened so quickly that Lin Tu and the other Lin family genetic warriors didn't even have time to react. "Xiao Cheng," the fifth elder shouted loudly, and his eyes turned bloodshot. Lin Cheng was the Lin family's top talent, and they had invested countless resources in his cultivation. Now he had died just like that? "Don't panic. You will all die," Yi Li said calmly. Hearing this, the several Lin family genetic warriors were shocked. They looked at Yi Li and noticed that he had a strange knife in his hand. It was a super magic knife of terrifying power. Sky Demon Tyrant Blade Technique. The dragon-slaying blade descended heavily, and a supreme god demon attacked. These 7th-tier evolved beings had no way to resist such an attack, and were instantly killed. Chapter 425. Yi Li did it. Upon witnessing this scene, Lin Tu's soul was shaken. This can't be possible. Lin Tu was willing to believe that even if the sky were falling, he would not believe that what he was witnessing was real. He had originally thought that Yi Li was a dead man, but now, Yi Li's face remained unwaveringly calm, as he never needed a reason for his actions. In this apocalyptic world, where life was as fragile as grass, what did it matter if a few people were killed? Xiao Yuzhu had never imagined that Yi Li could be so ruthless. She felt grateful that the Xiao family hadn't offended Yi Li too much, as the consequences would be unimaginable. "Are you very scared?" Yi Li looked at Lin Tu and asked calmly. Lin Tu was startled. How could he not be afraid? While Lin Cheng's death had made him furious, the instant death of the 4 7th-tier evolved beings at Yi Li's hand had left him utterly terrified. These were 4 7th-tier evolved beings, and Yi Li's power was unimaginably terrifying. And Lin Tu gazed at the knife in Yi Li's hand. It was too horrifying. Just a single glance at it made his heart race with fear. Lin Tu couldn't even utter a complete sentence at this point. He stared at Yi Li in shock, and his entire body involuntarily trembled. "In fact, you don't need to be like this, because you won't be afraid in a moment," Yi Li said calmly. Lin Tu was taken aback. He wouldn't be afraid in a moment. Could it be? He thought of an astonishing possibility, that Yi Li was about to let him go. Only by letting him go would he not be afraid. Thinking of this, Lin Tu looked at Yi Li. However, he was doomed to be disappointed. Yi Li raised his knife high. There is only one kind of person in this world who won't be afraid, and that is the dead. Hearing this, Lin Tu was extremely terrified. He was about to beg for mercy when he found that Yi Li had already raised the dragon-slaying blade high. Swish! A chilling light flashed, and Lin Tu had said his final farewell to the world. Yi Li's face remained as calm as ever, as if he was just doing something trivial. He took back the dragon-slaying blade and walked away. Xiao Yuzhu watched the bodies on the ground and swallowed hard. She thought that the Lin family would definitely seek revenge. But if they did so, they would likely be erased from the Sky Blue Base City forever. Yi Li and Xiao Yuzhu returned to the Sky Blue Base City. When they arrived at the Xiao family, the family head Xiao Tsong had a serious expression. Xiao Tsong looked at Yi Li and asked, "Mr. Yi, is it true that you killed the Lin family's people?" Yi Li was taken aback. It hadn't been long, and yet they already knew? However, Yi Li soon understood. Powerful families like the Lin family usually had life cards for their important members. When a life card disappeared, it meant that person was dead. "Yes, I did it," Yi Li said slowly. As for why Xiao Tsong guessed it was him, Yi Li didn't dwell on it. Xiao Tsong was one of the family heads of the top 3 families. He probably had this information. Upon hearing Yi Li's admission, Xiao Tsong wore a bitter smile. "Mr. Yi, just as you and Yuzhu returned earlier, the Lin family had already set their sights on you. Now, the Lin family is mobilizing their troops and joining forces with the Tang family to come after you." Chapter 426. Seeking trouble. Yi Li's face remained calm, as if he hadn't heard anything. Xiao Tsong was puzzled. "Mr. Yi, aren't you afraid?" Yi Li smiled. "There's nothing to be afraid of. The Lin family's actions will only lead to their death." Xiao Tsong was taken aback, watching Yi Li's indifferent face. He marveled at the calmness that a young man like Yi Li displayed. When he was young, why couldn't he be like Atr? Yi. Ka. Suddenly, dozens of armed helicopters appeared in the sky above the Xiao family, and their loudspeaker voices followed. "Yi Li, come out and face your fate." The message was accompanied by powerful spiritual energy, making it clear to everyone from the Xiao family. "Family head! Family head!" A member of the Xiao family rushed in panic-stricken. "What's going on?" Xiao Tsong asked through gritted teeth. "Thousands of troops have appeared outside the Xiao family, and they've surrounded us." "What?" Xiao Tsong's expression turned cold when he heard that. He looked at the armed helicopters in the sky. His Xiao family was one of the top 3 families. How could Lin Xinghe dare to surround the Xiao family? Lin Xinghe was the head of the Lin family, a 9th-tier evolved being. "Mr. Yi, what do you think?" Xiao Tsong asked tentatively. This situation had arisen because of Yi Li. They needed to see how he would handle it. "I'll go out for a moment," Yi Li said calmly. With that, Yi Li walked out of the Xiao family compound. Xiao Tsong hurriedly followed, and so did the rest of the Xiao family. Outside the Xiao family, there were tens of thousands of heavily armed soldiers and numerous genetic warriors. Standing at the forefront were 2 elderly figures. One of the elders was Lin Xinghe, the head of the Lin family, and the other was Tang Xiao, the head of the Tang family, both 9th-tier evolved beings. Brother Xinghe, an individual named Yi Li, intruded into the Sky Blue Base City. "We didn't know about a person of his caliber beforehand," Tang Xiao said to Lin Xinghe. Lin Xing's face turned extremely dark. His most beloved grandson had been killed by Yi Li, and only by tearing Yi Li to pieces could he quell his hatred. At this moment, a young man walked out of the Xiao family. The members of the Xiao family followed closely behind him. Tang Xiao squinted his eyes, finding it hard to believe. If this young man was indeed Yi Li, then his talent was truly terrifying. Lin Xinghe stared at Yi Li, his aged face even darker. This young man was the one who had caused his grandson and several strong genetic warriors from the Lin family to meet a gruesome end. Yi Li stopped in his tracks and calmly gazed at Lin Xinghe and Tang Xiao. "Are you Yi Li?" Tang Xiao was the first to speak. "Yes, I am Yi Li," Yi Li said slowly. Tang Xiao was inwardly shocked. He had guessed correctly. This young man was indeed Yi Li. However, Yi Li, who appeared to be in his early 20s, was so formidable? "Yi Li." Lin Xinghe gnashed his teeth as he glared at Yi Li. "Yi Li, you killed my grandson and the genetic warriors of the Lin family. I will dismember you." Lin Xing's aged face grew even darker. Yi Li smiled. He looked at everyone before slowly speaking after a few seconds. "How can people like you change?" The others were puzzled, clearly not understanding what Yi Li meant. Suddenly, a phantom of a 5-clawed blood dragon soared into the sky, accompanied by the terrifying sound of a blade ringing in the air. Yili held a peerless magic blade in his hand. At the same time, a crimson giant bell appeared in front of Yili. On his left hand was a 7-layered black tower. On his left and right sides, members of the Apocalypse Legion stood in a single line. Chapter 427:1 Laugh with my saber, against the heavens. Everyone present was scared to the point of retreating 3 steps. And I 9th-tier zombies? Tang Xiao's eyes widened. 7 9th-tier zombies? How was that even possible? And there were also 18 6th-tier clawed zombies. What shocked Tang Xiao even more was the blade in Yili's right hand, the tower he held in his left hand, and the red giant bell in front of him. He had once seen the illustrations of the 10 great divine weapons, and after careful thought, he couldn't help but tremble uncontrollably. Dragon-slaying blade, heavenly tower, and Eastern Emperor bell. Tang Xiao swore that he had never been so shocked in his entire life. 3 of the 10 great divine weapons were in Yili's hands. And how could he not be astounded? Lin Xinghe and the Lin family members were equally shocked. Their eyes were the widest they had ever been, and their mouths could have held an extra-large bowl. Xiao Zong and the Xiao family members were also shocked beyond measure. They looked at Yili with stunned expressions. Dark race. Lin Xinghe stared at Yili, and he never expected Yili to be a powerful member of the dark race. When the others heard Lin Xing's words, they were all shocked. They had been so stunned earlier that they had forgotten that only members of the dark race could control the zombies. Xiao Zong and the Xiao family members involuntarily took several steps back. Xiao Yuzhu knew Yili wasn't a member of the dark race and didn't move away. However, the people from the Xiao family forcibly pulled her away. At this moment, Yili had clearly become the target of everyone. No wonder you've reached this level at such a young age. You're from the dark race. Lin Xinghe stared at Yili and coldly chuckled. Yes, and you also have 7 9th-tier zombies and 18 6th-tier clawed zombies, along with 3 of the 10 great divine weapons. The dragon-slaying blade, heavenly tower, and Eastern Emperor bell. Tang Xiao also coldly chuckled. Yili's face remained calm. He spoke indifferently. It seems like you think you can decide my fate, don't you? Indeed, Yili, no matter how skilled you are, you can't escape from the Sky Blue Base City today. You're trapped with no way out, Tang Xiao said, staring at Yili. Yili inwardly smiled. If he were just an ordinary 9th-tier evolved being, he would have no chance of victory. But was he just an ordinary 9th-tier evolved being? He possessed a skill with massive area-off effect damage. With a single strike, the world would tremble. In that case, go ahead and make your move, Yili said to Tang Xiao and Lin Xinghe. Attack! Tang Xiao and Lin Xinghe gave the order simultaneously. Suddenly, the army opened fire on Yili, unleashing a terrifying barrage of laser beams. Yili smiled coldly, as the saying goes. I laugh with my saber against the heavens, and dare the earth to stop me. Purgatory, absolute annihilation. Yili tossed the heavenly tower into the air, and it instantly expanded to dozens of yards in size. Lightning bolts shot out from the base of the tower, and a multitude of destructive dark lightning struck down, shaking the earth and sky. Dang! Yili's palm struck the Eastern Emperor bell, and the sound of the clock resonated rapidly. A fierce wind surged, sending countless people flying. Now go ahead and make your move, Yili said calmly. The Apocalypse Legion suddenly shot forward. 18 clawed zombies formed a corpse ghost array, and the corpse energy began to boil. Ah! All! Ah! Countless terrifying screams echoed. Yili leaped into the air, lifting the dragon-slaying blade high, and he said, Primordial Demon Slash. Chapter 428. Never attempt to threaten me. Yili executed the Primordial Demon Slash, and the 3,000 god demon phantoms flew down. Boom! In an instant, a deafening explosion resounded. Tang Xiao and Lin Xinghe were greatly shocked, as they couldn't have imagined that Yili possessed such incredible combat power. Just as Lin Xinghe was about to make a move, a blade appeared in front of his neck. With just a slight movement forward, Lin Xinghe would fall. Well, Tang Xiao was stunned. He was a 9th-tier evolved being, So why hadn't he had the time to react at all? Lin Xinghe widened his eyes and followed the blade in front of his neck. He discovered that it was Yi Li holding the blade. Yi Li! Lin Xinghe exclaimed in terror. Yi Li's trick was to catch the ringleader first, and he would have his fun along the way. At this moment, the military and the Jin warriors all stopped, gazing at the scene in disbelief. If Yi Li truly wanted to, none of these people would escape. Unfortunately, Yi Li was not a bloodthirsty person. Yi Li, what do you want to do? Lin Xinghe stared at Yi Li in shock. He never expected Yi Li to suddenly appear in front of him and hold the dragon-slaying blade against his neck. The chilling aura of the blade made it difficult for him to open his eyes. What do you think I want to do? Yi Li's face showed a playful smile. Yi Li, if you dare to do anything to Brother Xinghe, I guarantee you won't leave Sky Blue Base City alive. Tang Xiao said coldly. Yi Li smiled faintly. He looked at Tang Xiao and said, so you're trying to threaten me now? Tang Xiao clenched his teeth. He had never seen someone like Yi Li. Was he not afraid of death? Or did he just have the confidence to survive? Yi Li, I advise you to put down the blade. One can consider letting you die with a complete corpse. Lin Xinghe said coldly. Lin Xinghe was confident that Yi Li wouldn't dare to harm him. Otherwise, there would be no need to hold the blade to his neck. Yi Li had done this because he wanted to survive. Yi Li chuckled. He really did laugh. Why did people always choose to threaten him, Yi Li? Didn't they know that he was least afraid of threats? Originally, you could have lived a few more seconds, but you didn't cherish it. So there's nothing I can do. Yi Li said calmly. Yi Li, do you dare? But Lin Xinghe didn't have the chance to finish his sentence. With a sudden flash of cold light, Lin Xinghe, a ninth-tier evolved being, had vanished from the world forever. Silence, a deadly silence. Everyone present had their eyes wide open. They couldn't have imagined that Yi Li would actually take action. Brother Xinghe. Tang Xiao was closest to Lin Xinghe. His eyes were the widest they had ever been, and cold sweat had soaked his entire body. Yi Li looked indifferent as he gazed at everyone present and calmly spoke. Who else wants to die? Yi Li, don't mind using my hands a bit more. At this point, no one dared to speak. They stared in horror at Yi Li. Yi Li sounded somewhat bored. Since no one wants to volunteer, I'll take my leave. After saying that, Yi Li, accompanied by the Apocalypse Legion, calmly left the scene. He returned to the Third Dark Knight Castle. And in that one day, Sky Blue Base City had exploded into chaos. Everything Yi Li had done had left people astounded. And he had become a widely known figure in Sky Blue Base City. Chapter 429. The Third Dark Knight Castle. Yi Li arrived at the Third Dark Knight Castle. He walked slowly toward the grand gate of the Third Dark Knight Castle. Several third-tier Dark Knight tribe members were bewildered and couldn't believe their eyes. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Nonsense, he's Lord Demon King. Soon, one of the third-tier Dark Knight tribe member hurriedly rushed inside to deliver the news, setting a new record for the fastest speed. The remaining third-tier Dark Knight tribe members didn't dare to speak with Yi Li. They could only look around to avoid the awkward situation. Before long, Black Azura came out with the Dark Knight tribe members. Black Azura was currently the leader of the Dark Knight tribe, and after Yi Li's intervention that day, Black Azura had unified the Dark Knight tribe. Demon King, you finally returned. Black Azura was overjoyed. In his eyes, Yi Li was his great benefactor. If it weren't for Yi Li, he wouldn't be where he was today. Yi Li nodded and said, I've come back to take a look. Black Azura quickly invited Yi Li inside, and after they entered the main hall, he asked Yi Li to take the main seat. Yi Li sat on a stone chair, but before he could say anything, Black Azura asked, Demon King, have you come because of the 10th tier Dark Race member? Yi Li was momentarily stunned. A 10th tier Dark Race member? Black Azura looked at Yi Li's stunned expression and was confused as well. Demon King, you don't know? Tell me more. Yi Li had been in Sky Blue Base City for a few days. In the wild, a 10th tier Dark Race member had appeared. He had never met 10th tier Dark Race members before. Yi Li couldn't help but be overjoyed. Finally, a challenging opponent had come. Demon King, recently, many powerful dark race members have appeared in the wilderness. I don't know what they're after. By the way, a thunder beast said. After Black Azura finished speaking, he paused for a moment and continued. It seemed they were looking for a human youth. One laughed at that back then. What kind of human youth could make such high-tier dark race members afraid? Black Azura was about to laugh. But when he saw Yi Li's calm face, he suddenly remembered something. He leaped from his seat and stared at Yi Li in disbelief. With a trembling voice he said, Demon King, they can't be looking for you, can they? When these words were uttered, all the high-tier Dark Knight tribe members in the hall were shocked. They looked at Yi Li, eager to hear his response. Yi Li thought for a moment and then calmly said, It's quite possible. Hearing Yi Li's answer, Black Azura swallowed hard. Demon King, the enemy has a 10th tier dark race member. The difference between the 9th tier and the 10th tier was like night and day. In other words, a 9th tier individual wouldn't stand a chance against a 10th tier one. Yi Li thought that this was indeed a problem. But if he backed down now, would he still be Yi Li? By the way, Demon King, they speculated that you might have gone to Sky Blue Base City and are currently mobilizing their forces, preparing to attack Sky Blue Base City. Hearing this, a mischievous smile appeared on Yi Li's face. Do you know when they plan to attack Sky Blue Base City? I don't know, but it should be in the next few days. Yi Li figured there would likely be many zombies at that time, giving him the opportunity for another major synthesis. He felt quite pleased. Chapter 430. Tens of thousands of zombies. Demon King, what are your plans? Black Azura looked at Yi Li and asked. Yi Li thought that since Black Azura knew about this, it meant they had already approached him. A 10th tier dark race member was indeed formidable, but Yi Li was not afraid. They would find out whether they were strong as rumored when the time came. Leader. Suddenly, a 3rd tier Dark Knight tribe member rushed in and said to Black Azura, Leader, a group led by a 7th tier Mad Bull, with hundreds of Mad Bulls and tens of thousands of zombies, is ready to pass through our defense zone. Black Azura was taken aback upon hearing this and said slowly, It seems they are ready to move. Demon King, what do you think? Before Black Azura could finish speaking, Yi Li interrupted him. Do I even need to say it? All of these zombies are mine, Yi Li said with a smile. Black Azura was taken aback. He had seen Yi Li's incredible synthesis skills. Tens of thousands of zombies would be an awe-inspiring sight. Take me there, Yi Li said, rising slowly. Black Azura nodded and ordered the 3rd tier Dark Knight tribe member to lead the way. Before long, Yi Li arrived at the defense zone belonging to the Dark Knight tribe. Countless Dark Knight tribe members were facing off with the Mad Bulls and zombies. The leader of the Mad Bulls was a 7th tier Mad Bull, and there were hundreds of Mad Bulls of varying levels with him. Yi Li wasn't concerned about them. He was interested in the tens of thousands of zombies behind the Mad Bulls. He hadn't seen so many zombies in a long time, and the prospect of a major synthesis was enticing. Thinking about it, Yi Li couldn't help but smile. You small Dark Knight tribe dare to block our path? The 7th tier Mad Bull sneered. We are working for Lord Baiyuan, and if we delay Lord Baiyuan's affairs, you should know what the consequences will be, right? The 7th tier Mad Bull continued. Lord Baiyuan, whom the 7th tier Mad Bull spoke of, was that 10th tier dark race member. Who dares to be so arrogant on our territory? A cold voice rang in the ears of the dark race members. The 7th tier Mad Bull raised its head to look at Black Azura, but the 7th tier Mad Bull didn't show any fear on its cow-like face. It looked at Black Azura with a hint of mockery. I know you are the leader of the Dark Knight tribe, and your name is Black Azura. Black Azura smiled coldly. Now that you know it's me, you'd better leave. The 7th tier Mad Bull was stunned. Master Steelbone told me that the Dark Knight tribe will make way. Do you want to? Before the 7th tier Mad Bull finished speaking, the Black Azura interrupted him. It's different now. I don't want to give way to you anymore, Black Azura said with a smile. The 7th tier Mad Bull was furious, and was about to finish speaking when a human youth suddenly appeared in its line of sight. Human. The 7th tier Mad Bull was stunned. It couldn't fathom why a human youth would be here. Are you ready? Yili asked nonchalantly, his calm tone chilling. Ready. The seventh-tier Mad Bull was still trying to figure out why a human youth had appeared when this human youth suddenly said these words incomprehensible to him. Chapter 431. Are you ready to die, Black Azura? No wonder you refused to listen to the orders of Lord Bai Yuan and Lord Steelbone. It turns out that you colluded with human genetic warriors. The seventh-tier Mad Bull said coldly as it looked at Black Azura. Then, the seventh-tier Mad Bull turned to Yili and said, Human, you just asked if we're ready. I've been pondering, and I still don't understand what you meant. Do you want to know? Yili asked nonchalantly, gazing at the seventh-tier Mad Bull. Of course. The seventh-tier Mad Bull replied coldly. Since you want to know, I'll tell you. I asked if you're ready to die, Yili said calmly. What? Upon hearing these words, the seventh-tier Mad Bull and the hundreds of Mad Bulls couldn't help but be shocked. They never expected Yili to say something like that. Human you. For a moment, the seventh-tier Mad Bull was at a loss for words. He couldn't understand how Yili had the audacity to say such a thing. Not only did they have hundreds of Mad Bull dark races, but they also had tens of thousands of zombies. With such strength, could it be suddenly? The seventh-tier Mad Bull realized something and stared at Black Azura with a cold voice. Black Azura, is the Dark Knight tribe planning to attack us? If the entire Dark Knight tribe army launched an attack against them, they would indeed be in great danger. And the fact that this human dared to say such things could only mean this. Black Azura also considered this possibility, and he was about to speak, but then he heard Yili calmly say to the seventh-tier Mad Bull, With you, these misfit creatures, I and the Apocalypse Legion are more than enough. The seventh-tier Mad Bull was dumbfounded. The Apocalypse Legion? Yili released the Apocalypse Legion from the system space. Godfist Zombie Ada, Ironfoot Zombie Baiwawa, Ice Zombie Hongya, Petrification Zombie Yutong, Ghost Sword Zombie Achi, Devouring Zombie Bone Maiden, Divine Spear Zombie Longyu, the 18 Copper Armor Clawed Zombies, and the Sky-Swallowing Dog Xiaohei. That was the entirety of Yili and the Apocalypse Legion's strength. Among the tens of thousands of zombies, there were many first- and second-tier mutant zombies. By taking their corpse crystals, Yili could help Xiaohei level up again. When the seventh-tier Mad Bull saw this scene, he involuntarily took 3 steps back. He really took 3 steps back. This. He could swear that this was an unimaginable scene that he would never see, and yet it appeared before his eyes. The hundreds of Mad Bulldarks felt the same. They were in a state of shock. Yili didn't want to waste any more time talking with them. He activated the 4th level of the ancient demon tome. In an instant, a vast aura of demonic energy began to shroud the land. It was as if the aura of an overlord had emerged, and countless zombies instantly fell to the ground. The 7th-tier Mad Bull and the hundreds of Mad Bulls were terrified. Their souls trembled uncontrollably, and they even felt a desire to kneel before Yili. Yili's presence was like that of an emperor, an irresistible force. The nocturnal dark races were similarly overwhelmed. They couldn't bear this kind of oppressive feeling. It was too horrifying. Yili took out the dragon-slaying blade from the system space. He didn't plan to use any other artifacts. It wasn't necessary, and it would be too conspicuous. After all, there were so many powerful beings in the world. Kill. With a single word, the Apocalypse Legion began to attack. Though their numbers were small, they had the power of 1,000 armies. Chapter 432. The Trial of the Eastern Emperor Bel. As the Apocalypse Legion attacked, the heavens and the earth trembled. The clouds hung down from the sky, and the waters from the 4 seas stood tall. The 7th-tier Mad Bull was terrified, and though the numbers of the Apocalypse Legion were not large, the momentum and pressure were overwhelming. He had lost any will to fight. Without a doubt, the Apocalypse Legion easily annihilated hundreds of Mad Bulls, and the 7th-tier Mad Bull didn't escape. Then, Yili opened the synthesis grid in his mind and started the synthesis process. His hand speed had reached an incredible level. The synthesized zombies attacked other zombies. In addition to the Apocalypse Legion, tens of thousands of zombies were like air in Yi Li's eyes. The 18-clawed zombies have been upgraded to 8th-tier zombies. Next, Yi Li began extracting corpse crystals from the mutant zombies. There were many of them, and Yi Li gazed at the lifeless zombies on the ground. He extracted all the corpse crystals from the mutant zombies. Xiaohei. Yi Li tossed all the corpse crystals to Xiaohei. Xiaohei's eyes lit up, and it began to devour them greedily. After Xiaohei finished eating, Yi Li checked its status. Xiaohei, Sky-Swallowing Dog. Attributes: Strength. Bloodline: Divine Beast. Tier: 5th tier Lightning. Skills: Devour. Yi Li closed the status panel and looked at the 18-clawed zombies. Just now, he gave them a title, 18 Copper Armor Clawed Zombies. Since they were the Copper Armor Zombies, they couldn't go without their armor. Yi Li opened the points mall in his mind and started searching. Azure Wave Copper Armor. Increases defense by 10%. Price: 10,000 points. Yi Li bought 18 sets of Azure Wave Copper Armor without hesitation and equipped the 18-clawed zombies with them. In an instant, the 18-clawed zombies transformed into the genuine 18 Copper Armor Clawed Zombies. Long Yu, from now on, the 18 Copper Armor Clawed Zombies is yours, Yi Li told Long Yu. Yes, master. Long Yu nodded immediately. Black Azura and the Dark Knight tribe members were still petrified, unable to snap out of the shock. Yi Li's terrifying display of power had left them in awe. Lord Demon King, I'm afraid that Thunder Beast and Steelbone will find out soon. If they tell Baiyuan. Black Azura didn't finish his sentence, wondering how Yi Li would respond. No matter, let them come, Yi Li said calmly. He had crossed paths with Thunder Beast and Steelbone before. These two 9th-tier Dark Race members were faster in escaping than in fighting. The only one who worried Yi Li was Baiyuan, a 10th-tier Dark Race member. Ding! The trial of the Eastern Emperor Bell is about to begin. Host, please proceed to the target area immediately. The system's voice was followed by the appearance of coordinates in Yi Li's mind. Yi Li smiled, knowing that the trial of the Eastern Emperor Bell was finally here. Following the coordinates in his mind, Yi Li reached the target area. It was a mountaintop. Yi Li was somewhat puzzled. The trials for the Dragon-Slaying Blade and Heavenly Tower had transported him to different worlds. Why hadn't he entered another world now this time? Suddenly, the air above Yi Li's head began to change. A large vortex slowly formed, rapidly spinning as lightning serpents roared and gusts of wind billowed. Seeing this, Yi Li's eyes widened. Heavenly tribulation. This was just like what he had seen in the novels he read back in China. Could it be that he was about to face a heavenly tribulation during the Eastern Emperor Bell's trial? Chapter 433. Struck by lightning, the vortex spun faster and faster, and the terrifying power of lightning became increasingly frightening. Yi Li didn't expect that he'd have to go through a heavenly tribulation. It was quite interesting. He remained calm and didn't believe that the lightning would harm him. Taking a cue from novels he had read, he sat down on the ground, waiting for the lightning to strike. He believed that as long as he completed the trial of the Eastern Emperor Bell, the reward should be worthwhile. Boom! Suddenly, an immensely massive bolt of lightning shot down towards Yi Li. It's finally here, Yi Li smiled. He didn't move and wanted to see how powerful this lightning was. Without any hesitation, the lightning struck Yi Li's body. Instantly, he felt all of his organs shift, and his clothes were charred. This was the Thunder Silk robe he had purchased from the Points Mall. Yi Li thought that this lightning was terrifying. Initially, he believed it would be like a tickle. If another 9th-tier evolved being were to be hit by this, they would probably be flayed alive. Yi Li stared at the vortex overhead, and it showed no sign of dissipating. Even more terrifyingly, the original lightning had turned red, giving it an intimidating appearance. The second bolt of lightning would undoubtedly be stronger than the first. Yi Li suddenly thought of something, and realized there was no need for him to sit here and endure lightning strikes. He could just use the dragon-slaying blade to cut through the lightning. In an instant, a wry smile appeared on Yuli's face. He had believed he was the cleverest person in the world, but now he realized he couldn't have been more wrong. Immediately, Yuli took out the dragon-slaying blade from the system space. With the dragon-slaying blade in hand, the world was his. As the dragon-slaying blade was brought out, the second bolt of lightning struck with great force. It was a red lightning bolt accompanied by numerous smaller bolts, causing it to look even more terrifying. Yili raised the dragon-slaying blade, and instantly, a 1,000-meter-long sword aura appeared in the sky. The sword aura grew larger, as if it were slicing through the very fabric of the sky, providing a truly astonishing visual impact. Swish! The fearsome sword aura struck the colossal red lightning bolt, and it vanished instantly. Seeing this, a faint smile appeared on Yuli's face. He thought to himself, "You come with countless tricks, but I have an ace up my sleeve." To Yuli's surprise, the black vortex still didn't disappear, and the power of lightning inside changed color again, turning black. Yili smiled gently and said, "You're still coming? Then come." Boom! As soon as Yili finished speaking, a massive black lightning bolt struck down towards him. He knew that this enormous black lightning bolt was likely very powerful. But without hesitation, Yili jumped into the air, raising the dragon-slaying blade high and proclaimed word by word, "Sky, Demon, Tyrant Blade Technique." Suddenly, an ultimate godly demon phantom soared into the sky. It collided heavily with the colossal black lightning bolt, producing earth-shaking thunderclaps. Boom, boom, boom. In the end, the ultimate godly demon phantom and the colossal black lightning bolt both dissipated. Ding! Congratulations to the host for passing the trial of the Eastern Emperor Bell. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a super large treasure chest. Open it, Yili said without hesitation. Chapter 434. Become a 10th tier evolved being without hesitation. Yili opened the super large treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the skill upgrade 11. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a super evolution elixir 11. Congratulations to the host for upgrading the ancient devil tome to the 5th level. Just as Yili had expected, the rewards from the trial of the Eastern Emperor Bell were indeed valuable. He integrated all the skill upgrade opportunities, increasing the levels of both his and the Apocalypse Legion's skills by 1 level. Yili checked his skills levels: Flame Blade Technique, SSS level; Primordial Demon Slash, SSS level; Sky Demon Tyrant Blade Technique, SSS level. All of them had reached at least the SSS level. As for the Super Evolution Elixir, Yili had no idea what it was. Super Evolution Elixir. A sacred elixir for human evolved beings that, when consumed, allows for 1 level of advancement without any side effects. Reading the description of the Super Evolution Elixir, Yili's eyes lit up. He thought to himself that this was absolutely amazing. Without further thought, he tired the Super Evolution Elixir. In an instant, Yili felt his entire body heating up, and his blood vessels and capillaries were scorching at an extreme level. Unable to suppress his reaction, he let out a low growl, as if he were being burned alive. When this sensation gradually subsided, Yili felt his strength reach a new level. He checked his attributes: Host Yili, System, Super Synthesis System. Weapons: Dragon-Slaying Blade, Divine Weapon. Heavenly Tower, Divine Weapon. Eastern Emperor Bell, Divine Weapon Unclaimed. Skills: Healing Art, Super Golden Finger Flame Blade Technique, Primordial Demon Slash, Sky Demon Tyrant Blade Technique, 5th level of the Ancient Devil Tome. Realm: 10th tier evolved being. Zombies: Apocalypse Legion. Now that the Ancient Devil Tome had reached the 5th level, Yili was at least 100 times more powerful than a 9th tier evolved being. Yili had previously been a bit concerned about the 10th tier evolved being, but now he realized that his previous concerns were completely unnecessary. Ding! Eastern Emperor Bell chooses to acknowledge the host. Does the host agree? Agreed. Eastern Emperor Bell acknowledging begins. 10%. 30%, 60%, 100%. Eastern Emperor Bell acknowledgement successful. Now that the trial of the Eastern Emperor Bell was over, Yili could leave the mountain. Back at the third Dark Knight Castle, Yili noticed many other Dark Race members outside, and their levels were not low, ranging from the 6th tier to the 7th tier. A 7th tier specter was stunned. He looked at Yili up and down. "You're not a human." Immediately, dozens of high-tier Dark Race members turned their attention to Yili. With his ancient devil tome now at the 5th level, Yili didn't hide his presence. All the high-tier Dark Race members were puzzled. They couldn't understand why Yili had no trace of a human aura, yet looked identical to a human. "I'm indeed not a human," Yili nodded. The 7th tier specter smiled and asked, "Are you a subordinate of Lord Steelbone or Lord Thunderbeast?" "Why? Are Steelbone and Thunderbeast inside?" Yili slowly asked. The 7th tier specter nodded and said, "Yes, Lord Steelbone and Lord Thunderbeast are inside, negotiating with Black Azura." Yili didn't press further, and simply walked towards inside. "Halt!" Chapter 435. You can call me the Demon King. The 7th tier specter blocked Yili's path. "Without tears from Lord Steelbone or Lord Thunderbeast, you can't go in." Yili smiled faintly and shook his head slowly. "What are you laughing at?" Not just the 7th tier specter, but dozens of high-tier Dark Race members were puzzled by Yili's smile. "Do you know that you originally had a chance to live, but you didn't cherish it?" Yili said casually. As soon as he finished speaking, the Apocalypse Legion suddenly appeared. Roar! Ada unleashed his earth-shattering fist, combined with the attacks from the 4 natural elements: wind, rain, thunder, and lightning, all of which were SSS-class skills. Boom! Long Yu wielded the water and fire merciless spear, sweeping across the battlefield. A cold radiance first appeared, followed by the spear striking like a dragon. In an instant, dozens of high-tier Dark Race members were all killed, having no chance for survival. Yili remained calm as he walked into the third Dark Knight Castle. When he was about to reach the main hall of the third Dark Knight Castle, Yili discovered that there were dozens of high-level Dark Race members. They blocked the Dark Knight tribe members to the side. After his ancient devil tome had been upgraded to the 5th level, Yili's demonic aura had reached the point where his presence was felt even before he arrived. The high-tier Dark Race members soon noticed him and watched him vigilantly. "Are you also a Dark Race member?" a 7th tier Shadow Bat asked Yili. "No," Yili replied lightly. The dozens of Dark Race members were slightly stunned and looked at Yili in confusion. "Go tell Steelbone and Thunderbeast that Yili, have arrived," Yili said. "Yili?" The dozens of high-tier Dark Race members thought for a moment, but the name Yili was entirely unfamiliar to them. "Ha, Yili, even we have never heard your name. Do you think Lord Steelbone and Lord Thunderbeast would know you?" One of the Dark Race members sneered. Yili smiled faintly. "Steelbone and Thunderbeast not only know me, but they are also terrified of me. If no one goes inside to inform them, you will all die." "What?" The dozens of high-tier Dark Race members widened their eyes in disbelief. They couldn't understand why Yili would dare to say such a thing. "I think he's here to help the Dark Knight tribe. Surround him." Suddenly, all the high-tier Dark Race members surrounded Yili. The Dark Knight tribe members watched this with pity on their faces, well aware of the power of the Demon King. "Since you dare to come to help the Dark Knight tribe, one think you're looking for death. You're the first Dark Race member I've seen who's so eager to die." One of the Dark Race members taunted Yili, eyeing him. Yili's face remained calm as he said, "I've told you, I'm not a Dark Race member." The dozens of high-tier Dark Race members were furious, convinced that Yili had to be a Dark Race member due to his lack of human aura. "Since you're not a Dark Race member, why don't you tell us what kind of creature you are?" One 7-tier Dark Race member refused to believe otherwise, and seemed determined to get to the bottom of things. Yili contemplated for a few seconds, and then looked at the 7-tier Dark Race member before saying, You can call me the Demon King. But you won't have the chance to call me that." "Why?" "Because you're all going to die very soon. As he spoke, the Apocalypse Legion appeared. Bai Wawa unleashed his Qilin foot, Hongye used Frost Qi, and Yutong employed Light Energy Impact. The Dark Race members blocking Yi Li's path were only 6th to 7th tier, and they couldn't withstand such an attack. They were instantly killed. Chapter 436. Steelbone and Thunder Beast meet their demise. Big brother, they're too weak. Yutong pouted, clearly unsatisfied. Woof! Woof! Xiaohei barked, as if echoing Yutong's words. Yi Li chuckled. Yutong was right. These Dark Race members, ranging from 6th to 7th tier, were indeed weak. Killing them was as simple as crushing ants. The gate of the Third Dark Knight Castle was quite far from here, and the commotion from earlier hadn't reached Steelbone and Thunder Beast. But now, they had undoubtedly heard the disturbance. Steelbone and Thunder Beast emerged from the hall. Black Azura also came out from the hall, and when he saw Yi Li, he breathed a sigh of relief, his face filled with joy. However, Steelbone and Thunder Beast couldn't find any reason to smile. They stared at Yi Li with fear. Yi Li. They felt that Yi Li was much stronger than before. They had only felt such a terrifying suppressing pressure from Master Baiyuan. I heard that you've been looking for me recently? Yi Li looked at the Steelbone and the Thunder Beast and said lightly, Yi Li, Master Baiyuan knows that you have divine weapons. This time you... Steelbone words were cut off before he could finish, as Yi Li interrupted him. Go on, how do you want to die? A wicked smile appeared on Yi Li's serene face. Steelbone and Thunder Beast were terrified and panicked. Yi Li, Lord Baiyuan is a 10th tier evolved being, and you... Thunder Beast's words were cut off too as his pupils rapidly contracted. Because Yi Li had already produced a world-shaking demonic blade in his hand, which was none other than the dragon-slaying blade. Don't be afraid. It's a great honor for you to die at my hands, Yi Li said slowly. Steelbone and Thunder Beast were shocked. The pressure emanating from Yi Li was unbearable. All that occupied their minds was the thought of escaping. Steelbone and Thunder Beast nodded, and then they dashed away at the fastest speed they had ever used in their lives. However, no matter how hard they tried, they wouldn't be able to escape from Yi Li's grasp. They would only meet one fate, becoming lost souls under the dragon-slaying blade. Swish! A horrifying blade beam appeared, and Steelbone and Thunder Beast fell to the ground, their eyes wide open, as if they couldn't believe they had died. Yi Li recalled the dragon-slaying blade and the Apocalypse Legion into the system space. Black Azura hurriedly walked to Yi Li and said to him, Senior Demon King, Thunder Beast and Steelbone are here for what happened last time. Yi Li nodded. What's the situation with the 10th tier Dark Race member now? Black Azura shook his head. Right now, the nearest city to the Sky Blue Base City, the Linha City, has already gathered countless Dark Race members and zombies. One believed that a massive battle will break out soon. Sky Blue Base City's army of hundreds of thousands, and all the genetic warriors are poised and ready. Once this battle starts, it will surely be an earth-shattering event. Black Azura had never witnessed such a grandiose and epic battle, and for a moment, he felt a certain longing for it. Yi Li smiled. He thought that this battle might be 100 times more terrifying than the one in Huangjiang Base City. Should he watch from the sidelines or join in the fray? Chapter 437. The start of the earth-shattering battle. Sky Blue Base City. The Top 3 Families Conference Room. The Top 3 Families Conference Room was reserved for the high-level evolved beings of the Top 3 families. Those who could enter were all influential figures in Sky Blue Base City. However, the Lin family, one of the Top 3 families, no longer existed, so none of their members were present for this meeting. Xiao brother, if we really go to war, it might be the most terrifying battle Sky Blue Base City has seen in a century, Tang Xiao said to Xiao Tsang. Xiao Tsang nodded. This battle was an unprecedented crisis for Sky Blue Base City, and it could even lead to the city's destruction. Human powerhouses of Sky Blue Base City. Suddenly, a voice with immense authority echoed in the room. Everyone in the Top 3 Families Conference Room was surprised and looked around to identify the speaker. In front of the conference table, a black light appeared. Then a phantom appeared. This was a phantom with shoulder-length hair and black robes. There were 2 blood-red patterns on his pale face. Dark Phantom. Both Tang Xiao and Xiao Tsong were dumbfounded. This skill was said to be possessed only by 10th-tier Dark Race members. Human powerhouses of Sky Blue Base City. I am called Baiyuan. I am currently looking for a human genetic warrior who has appeared in your city. This human genetic warrior possesses 2 ancient divine weapons, the dragon-slaying blade and the Eastern Emperor Bell. One hope you hand him over. Otherwise, Sky Blue Base City will be wiped out in an instant. Baiyuan's voice was devoid of any emotion. Just hearing that cold voice sent shivers down everyone's spine. The people in the top 3 families' conference room were wide-eyed and immediately thought of one person. This person was Yi Li. After saying these words, Baiyuan's dark phantom disappeared from the conference room. So many Dark Race members and zombies have gathered in Linha City. It turns out that they are summoned by the level 10 Dark Race. Tang Xiao smiled bitterly. The gap between the 10th and 9th tiers was insurmountable. Now that Yi Li has left Sky Blue Base City, where can we find this person to hand him over? An 8th tier evolved being lamented. At this point, we can only prepare for battle and use everything we have to withstand it, Xiao Tsong also sighed. The number of Dark Race members and zombies gathered in Linha City had reached an astounding level. Even if the Sky Blue Base City could hold on, its vitality would be greatly damaged. 3 days later, the Dark Race members and zombies from Linha City suddenly advanced toward the outer city of Sky Blue Base City. Tens of thousands of Dark Race members and hundreds of thousands of zombies marched in a massive and terrifying formation. Wherever they went, it was as if a dark cloud was looming. The gatekeepers of Sky Blue Base City fought with all their might, using laser cannons, laser guns, combat suits and tanks. Even the city walls were piled high with rocks. The battle raged on for 2 days and 2 nights. In this battle, the various major powers in the surrounding areas of Sky Blue Base City all fell silent. This earth-shattering battle was enough to destroy everything in its path. Senior Demon King, Sky Blue Base City can't hold on much longer. Black Azura said to Yi Li. Yi Li looked up at the sky. What happened in Anan Base City, the Huangjiang Base City, and even the Sky Blue Base City all happened because of him. After all, the Dark Race members were the invaders of this parallel world. Although he was no longer a human, he was still a human when he transmigrated to this parallel world. Today Yi Li was about to orchestrate a colossal event. Is everything ready? Don't worry, Senior Demon King. We've been preparing for a long time. Yi Li smiled faintly and slowly said, "Let's go." Chapter 438. Yi Li arrives. God Fist Zombie Alda, Ironfoot Zombie by Wawa, Ice Zombie Hongya, Petrification Zombie Yutong, Ghost Sword Zombie Achi, Devouring Zombie Bone Maiden, Divine Spear Zombie Longyu, the 18 Copper Armor Clawed Zombies, and the Sky Swallowing Dog Xiaohei. Yi Li, the Apocalypse Legion, and Black Azura led the army, followed by tens of thousands of Dark Knight tribe members, marching towards Sky Blue Base City. Outside Sky Blue Base City, the blood was flowing like a river. In the sky, there were planes, and on the ground there were tanks. The Dark Race members were also unwilling to be weak. In the sky, there were flying creatures, and on the ground there were walking beasts. The zombie army relentlessly attacked the city walls. The soldiers on the city walls fired lasers and laser cannons, and rocks were falling everywhere. Brother Xiao, if this goes on, Tang Xiao looked at Xiao Tsong, his face showing deep concern. There's no other way. We can only hold them off. Otherwise, Sky Blue Base City will be razed to the ground. Xiao Tsong said. Boom! A deafening sound erupted as the outer wall of Sky Blue Base City was breached. In midair, a member of the Dark Race with shoulder-length hair and a black robe appeared. Behind this member of the Dark Race was a dark phantom, which looked shocking. At this moment, the Dark Race members and zombies suddenly stopped their attack. The Dark Race member in midair was undoubtedly Baiyuan, a 10th tier Dark Race member. Human, hand over the person I want, or you know the consequences. Bai Yuan's voice was incredibly cold, as if he were a demon from the depths of hell, sending shivers down everyone's spine. We don't have the person you're looking for. How do you expect us to hand him over? Tang Xiao coldly replied. Bai Yuan grinned. Since you want hand him over, 111 have to massacre the city. Attack! With Bai Yuan's command, countless dark race members and zombies resumed their assault on the city. The battle had been raging for several days and nights, and the army of Sky Blue Base City was made up of ordinary people who were exhausted from the high-intensity fighting over the past few days. It was believed that it wouldn't be long before the outer wall of Sky Blue Base City would be breached. Once the outer wall of Sky Blue Base City fell, only the genetic warriors would remain. It was impossible for them to resist such a massive force. In every way, it seemed that Sky Blue Base City was doomed to be reduced to ashes. Xiao Tsong looked at the tragic scene in front of him, and his hands trembled. Was Sky Blue Base City really going to end like this? But at that moment, countless fiery blades suddenly ignited the zombies that were piled up on the city walls. Everyone on the city walls widened their eyes. They had never expected such a scene to unfold. Suddenly, more than a dozen people appeared in midair. No, it was better to say that it was one person, 7 9th-tier zombies and 18 8th-tier clawed zombies. Plus a dog. Seeing this, Xiao Tsong couldn't help but shed tears of relief. He had thought that Yili would come to help Sky Blue Base City, but he knew that it was just wishful thinking. But now, the wish had come true. Bai Yuan stared at Yi Li and sneered. One didn't believe it when Steelbone and the Thunder Beast told me. It turns out that there is really someone like you. It seems that you are the human I am looking for. Yi Li smiled calmly. As for what Steelbone and Thunder Beast said, they're already dead. And next, it's your turn. Bai Yuan didn't look too shocked. He knew that since Yi Li could control such a high-leveled zombie, it would be too easy for him to kill Steelbone and Thunder Beast. Chapter 439. Battling the 10th tier dark race member, Ha! Bai Yuan stared at Yi Li, sensing the aura emanating from him. I suppose you've used some secret method to conceal the human aura, Bai Yuan said coldly, a smirk playing on his lips. At this moment, the dark race members on the ground and the genetic warriors on the city walls all gazed skyward. You seem to understand quite a lot, Yi Li said slowly with a smile. Bai Yuan's expression turned cold at the words. He stared at Yi Li. Hand over the divine weapons, or you'll meet a brutal end. Yi Li chuckled inwardly. Why was it that everyone kept demanding he surrender the divine weapons? If you want it, come and take it. With those words, Yi Li retrieved the dragon-slaying blade from the system space. Suddenly, a phantom of a 5-clawed blood dragon soared into the sky, its roars echoing, exuding a chilling aura. Bai Yuan looked at the blade in Yi Li's hand, his eyes brightened. Is this the dragon-slaying blade, one of the 10 great divine weapons? Correct. Yi Li nodded. Previously, he might have hesitated facing Bai Yuan, given his status as a 10th tier dark race member. But now, as a 10th tier evolved being, he held no such reservations. Since you asked me to come and take it, here 1 a.m. As he spoke, Bai Yuan suddenly transformed into a black shadow, swiftly lunging towards Yi Li. Swish. Yi Li casually swung his blade, cleaving the sky as though splitting it in two. Bai Yuan's dark embodiment was instantly cleaved in half. Bai Yuan, alarmed, quickly retreated several hundred meters. Human, I didn't expect you to be so powerful relying on the dragon-slaying blade. Yi Li smiled faintly. Do you always talk so much nonsense? Come here and let me kill you. Bai Yuan, infuriated, spread his right hand, and a dark ancient spear appeared in his grasp. Dark Piercer. A terrifyingly evil light surged from the dark ancient spear toward Yi Li. This evil light seemed capable of piercing through the very fabric of space. Yi Li shook his head slowly. He couldn't fathom why Bai Yuan still believed he could withstand him. In the end, he couldn't avoid becoming a casualty beneath the dragon-slaying blade. Primordial Demon Slash. Instantly, 3,000 demon shadows slashed forth, far surpassing the strength of the evil light emitted from the dark ancient spear. Boom! The 3,000 god and demon phantoms collided with the terrifying evil light. After a deafening clash, the world seemed to fall into silence. The dark race member, the genetic warriors, all of their eyes widened. Such a peerless battle was something they might not see in their entire lifetimes. After the collision between the 3,000 demon shadows and the terrifying evil light, rather than being neutralized, they continued their trajectory toward Baiyuan. Seeing this, Baiyuan was taken aback. He leaped, avoiding the attack of the 3,000 god and demon shadows. Human, I didn't expect you to unleash such a strike. Baiyuan felt the situation slipping beyond his control. He had assumed Yili was nothing more than a 9th-tier evolved being, but he was proven wrong. Yili smiled calmly. At this point, do you have anything left to say? Meet your end. With those words, the 5th level of the ancient devil tome was activated. In an instant, the area was shrouded in demonic energy. At the same level, within this area enveloped by the demonic energy, Yili was invincible. He was the absolute law. As soon as the 5th level of the ancient devil tome was activated, numerous zombies and soldiers fell. The oppressive feeling was simply too terrifying. Chapter 440. God of Darkness. As the 5th layer of the ancient devil tome was activated, Baiyuan started to panic. For him, the demonic aura of the ancient devil tome was simply terrifying. Are you prepared to die? Yili gazed at Baiyuan with a faint smile. Baiyuan was taken aback. As a mighty 10th-tier dark race member, he had never been pushed to such an extent by a human. Human, do you really think you've already won? While I never expected you to be this fearsome, you're still going to die. With those words, Baiyuan raised the dark ancient spear high and let out a resounding howl. God of Darkness! Immediately, a massive dark phantom appeared behind Baiyuan. The terror of this dark phantom defied description. Human, 1 a.m. summoning the God of Darkness by burning the dark source within me. You should be proud to face this. Baiyuan's face was filled with a smug expression, because he believed Yili wouldn't be able to withstand this attack. Brother Xiao, do you think Mr. Yi can withstand this earth-shattering attack? Tang Xiao's face was filled with shock. I don't know. Right now, we can only place our hopes in Mr. Yi. Xiao Tsong shook his head and said. Suddenly, Baiyuan aimed the dark ancient spear at Yi Li, and the massive dark phantom behind him advanced towards Yi Li at breakneck speed. Yi Li smiled coldly. He couldn't help but find Baiyuan's actions laughable. Did Baiyuan really think such an attack could kill him? Yi Li raised the dragon-slaying blade high, and the Sky Demon Tyrant Blade technique was activated. A supreme demon phantom lunged forward as well. The massive dark phantom and the supreme demon phantom collided heavily. Boom! After a deafening roar, the entire area shook. To Yi Li's surprise, the Sky Demon Tyrant Blade technique and the dark phantom dissipated when they collided. It seemed that the God of Darkness, summoned by the 10th-tier dark race member, had quite some power. However, Baiyuan was left dumbfounded. He was willing to believe he would only live for one more second, rather than imagining that Yi Li could deflect the God of Darkness attack. How is this possible? Baiyuan gritted his teeth, his expression turning ice-cold to the extreme. Come on, Mr. Yi. On the city wall, a girl shouted at Yi Li. The girl was none other than Xiao Yuzhu. Following her lead, the genetic warriors and soldiers on the city wall shouted in unison. Come on, Adar. Yi. Although these genetic warriors were weak, and these soldiers were ordinary people, their voices together were like a giant sword thrusting towards the sky. Yi Li smiled faintly. These voices made him feel a surge of blood in his veins. Xia Shi and Xia Chun were also on the city wall. In this epic battle, all genetic warriors had to be on the city wall, regardless of the circumstances. They looked at the thin figure in midair in a daze. They had wanted to become Yi Li's women, but now they understood a piece of truth. What they realized was that someone like Yi Li was beyond anyone's reach. Hearing the shouts, Baiyuan flew into a rage. Attack! Attack! Baiyuan roared. The dark race members and zombies launched a new round of attacks. Go the Apocalypse Legion, Yi Li slowly said. At this moment, Black Azura led the Dark Knight tribe members into the battle. The number of Dark Knight tribe members was also astonishing. Chapter 441. Counterattack begins. Black Azura and the Dark Knight tribe members were currently positioned in the rear, waiting for Yi Li's signal. He intended to set a trap for the Dark Race members and zombies, and take them all by surprise. Baiyuan stared at Yi Li with anger in his eyes, not having felt this furious in a long time. Human, today it's either your death or mine. Swish. With a wind-breaking sound, Baiyuan vanished from his original spot. Baiyuan was indeed incredibly fast, something that Yi Li had to acknowledge. If it weren't for his heavenly spirit eyes, he might not have been able to keep up with Baiyuan's speed. However, the world had always been unfair. Since Baiyuan wanted to confront him head-on, Yi Li was willing to oblige. Swish. Another wind-breaking sound, and Yi Li left only an afterimage in his previous location. Clang. The sound of weapons clashing suddenly filled the dim sky with glimmers of frosty light. But how could the dark ancient spear compare to the dragon-slaying blade? In a single strike, the dark ancient spear was reduced to powder. What? Baiyuan's pupils constricted as he couldn't believe his dark ancient spear had been turned into dust with a single blow. He wanted to retreat several hundred meters, but Yi Li wouldn't give him the chance. Baiyuan was very fast, really fast. But Yi Li's swift steps were even faster. Swish. Yi Li slashed at Baiyuan's back. How to describe this strike? It was indescribable. But one thing was certain. After this attack, Baiyuan would disappear forever from this world. Silence, a deadly silence. Yi Li remained airborne, holding the sword, standing tall, and giving off an imposing presence. He seemed like a god descending from the heavens, a celestial being in the mortal world. Seeing Baiyuan's death, the Dark Race members no longer dared to continue fighting and frantically retreated. Upon witnessing this, Xiao Tsang and Tang Xiao shouted, "Chase them!" It was a well-known strategy not to chase a defeated enemy, but in this situation, nobody cared about that old saying. They went for it. The Apocalypse Legion was formidable, and wherever they went, rivers of blood flowed. After returning the dragon-slaying blade to his system space, Yi Li suddenly remembered something. He quickly shouted, "Don't touch the zombies!" The Jin warriors of Sky Blue Base were confused. They couldn't understand why Yi Li was saying this. Yi Li landed and looked at the countless zombie bodies piled up. He felt a pang of sadness. Life, fate, and luck. You can kill the other Dark Race members, but don't touch the Dark Knight tribe. You know the consequences if you do. Yi Li said slowly to Xiao Tsang and Tang Xiao. Xiao Tsang and Tang Xiao didn't dare to disobey Yi Li's order. They immediately passed the command to the genetic warriors of Sky Blue Base. Yi Li secretly gave an order to the Apocalypse Legion. He opened his mind and activated the synthesis grid in his brain. It was time for synthesis. After several days and nights of fighting, the zombies had once again become cannon fodder. Plus, many had died just now. There weren't many zombies left for Yi Li. However, the numbers were still quite substantial. Yi Li didn't know how long he had been synthesizing, having lost track of time. His face was becoming increasingly spirited. Alda has evolved into a 10th tier zombie. Baiwawa has evolved into a 10th tier zombie. Hongya has evolved into a 10th tier zombie. Yutong has evolved into a 10th tier zombie. Alchi has evolved into a 10th tier zombie. Bone Maiden has been upgraded to a level 10 zombie. Long Yu has evolved into a 10th tier zombie. The 18 clawed zombies have evolved into 9th tier zombies. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.